don't think I've ever been so nervous. Don't know why. Praise the Lord. I was witnessed to 3.5 years ago, and I'm really grateful that I responded immediately to the gospel, and I got baptized the next day and filled with the Holy Spirit with the evidence of speaking in tongues. Before I was a Christian, I was trying to do everything right in my own strength, and really making life pretty miserable for myself, but I didn't know another way. I would try to be a good person, and it really just drove me nuts, because like when you're trying to love someone else, and you're trying to give everything that you have, you realize pretty quickly that it's never as much as you kind of want to be able to do, and you never feel like you're doing it well enough. And I think that when I heard the gospel and I saw these people from the church, and that there was an entirely different way of living, it was different than I had ever seen before. And I had been to lots of different like religious and spiritual places with these people who call themselves gurus or spiritual people, and they would sit and like chant these there's like the ancient Indian language called Sanskrit, and they would chant these Sanskrit words for like 6 hours a day or something, and they would sit up the front expounding their wisdom to people, and it's like they seem like they have this facade of being spiritual and having peace, and people believe them. But if those people were really honest with themselves, they would realize that none of it really works. And so I'm grateful that I got to the point where I realized that none of it was working, and and I just wanted everything to change. I didn't want anything to stay the same, and I really believe that that's what led to hearing the gospel, because the day after I really kind of called out to God, even though I didn't know I was doing that. That's when I was witnessed to the very next day, and I'm grateful that at certain points during my walk now, I remember those memories, because they give me a comparison of what it was then, and to remember to put away all of those things from my old life, because I don't want any of that that I had before. All of this stuff, trying to find my own righteousness, I'm just so happy that I don't have to do that anymore. And so after I received the Holy Spirit, I got healed from a number of different physical ailments and mental and emotional things, and just getting to see the Lord, getting to have a friendship with the Lord has been the best part. I think that I was thinking about what my favorite testimony is that I've had, and it's definitely, without a doubt, when I was praying for a friend for their work situation, and just like shortly to preface this, that I had heard a testimony from someone over in Australia, and he had been wanting to go to an Easter camp, and so he got into this situation at work where he had put in for time off, and then the boss last minute said, "Oh, well, my daughter wants to go to a wedding, so you can't go to your camp." And he was like, "Okay, we'll see about this." So he goes and talks to the daughter, and she's like, "No, I'm sorry, I'm going to this wedding." And he's like, "Okay, right, I'm going to pray about this." And he said that she knew he was a Christian, so he just said that he was going to pray about it, and that's all he said. And he went home and he prayed about it, and I guess he said something to the Lord like, I know you're not in the habit of breaking up marriages, but I want to go to my camp. And so he comes into work the next day, and she's like, "You prayed about it, didn't you?" And he's like, what are you talking about? And she said, the wedding's been canceled. And so I just had this in my mind when my friend got into a situation where he was going to go to a work obligation, or like, it wasn't an obligation, but he signed up to do it instead of going to a Wednesday night meeting. And I didn't even say I was going to pray about it, but I went home and I prayed about it, and I was thinking about this testimony the whole time. And I was like, well, Lord, you did it for this person. Like, I don't know what you're going to have to do, but just like cancel the work thing or whatever, just get him to the meeting. And then I ran into him the next day, and he said, you prayed about it, didn't you? And I was like, what are you talking about? And in my head, I'm just thinking, wow, this is incredible. It's like happening just like it did in this other guy's testimony. And he said, my boss called me in yesterday and said, I'm cutting your hours down to 1 day a week. And like, it was just amazing seeing like rejoicing in the testimony that God had done for somebody else, and like seeing the value in that. It produced the same result for me, and not only the same result, but like everything was just like exactly the same, and it was just amazing to see that the Lord had done that for me. So I always like think about those times, and like if I'm ever down or just not knowing where the Lord's going to take me next, and because if I always remind myself, if I start doubting those things that the Lord's done for me, then I'm going to doubt everything, but I can't, so I won't. And yeah, praise the Lord.